Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War, Warhammer 2 Quick Match gameplay. This time around we are playing once again as the Empire. This time around it's going to be a little bit of a short match, but I wanted to demonstrate the Luminark of Hysh, and it's quite a treat. It's been a fun ride so far. This is the one unit in the Empire Artillery Park that I think has got gotten a tangible, useful buff in this patch. Its price has dropped a huge amount, went down from 2100 to 1700. This opens up a huge, that's huge. Empire previously, the Luminark of Hysh was exceedingly expensive. You couldn't afford, if you afforded one, that was a fifth of your army down the drain. Or sorry, about a sixth of your army down the drain. So the drop in price is definitely very nifty. And it did have a decrease in damage per shot. In turn, though, it did get 2 extra shots, which honestly, given the accuracy of the tool, is definitely good, I think. And otherwise, it's some slight changes to its other mechanics. Now the reduction in power recharge rate is map-wide, so it's no longer basically a useless improvement. And the R of protection, given that the Luminark usually stays close to your lines, it can be decent as long as your mana's over 50%, 12% damage resistance, which is definitely not bad. It's still not a melee cherry, it's still not good once it's expended its shots, but you know what? It's gotten a huge tangible buff, and I think it's a very cool tool now. So I did bring a Luminark of Hysh in this build, and that's what we're centered on here, and that's what we're trying to make work. For the rest of my composition, we are against vampire counts. For the rest of my composition here on the Central Chaos Waste, we are coming in with some Free Company Militia. We do have a front line of Spearmen as well as some Sigmar Sons, so very cheap chaff sort of stuff to tie down zombies, skeletons, that sort of crap. And stall any bigger troops like these Crypt Horrors. And then 3 Great Swords behind that to deal with Graveguard. So really a reasonable infantry contingent, backed by 2 Free Company Militia just to help deal with Crypt Horrors and Vargulfs and that sort of stuff. Provide some extra shooting, cheap and able to defend themselves against zombies and skeleton summons. A Light Wizard with net and False Protection, as well as, of course, Exorcism. 2 Demigryph Knights with Halberds, and then Boris with the usual accoutrements of Fresh the Weak, White Cloak of Ulrich, and a Midland Runefang. So for my opponent's build, pretty conventional, I think, vampire count build, except for the Vargeist, which are a very strange choice, but you know, they're a pretty strong unit in their own right. They can definitely dish out a lot of hurt, and they actually got a significant buff this last batch. Big buff to their AP damage, plus 10, so now they're up to pretty monstrous values there. 38 is definitely not bad. So my opponent did bring Manfred, Manny over here, flying around with Purple Son of Zerus, Spirit Leech, Raised Dead, as well as Van Hell's Dance Macabre, and Invocation of the Heck, of course, Master of Black Arts, Sword of Unholy Power, and of course the usual Undead Dragon abilities. 2 Vargeists up in the air. Down on the ground, a whole bunch of Graveguard, very solid infantry unit, backed by Skeleton Spears on the periphery, the Titan Zombies in the center, Sternsmen over here, 2 Crypt Horrors for AP, and the Claw of Nagash, once again providing AP and fear, terror, all that sort of stuff. A very tanky unit, actually, well, in some ways, because it does have a lot of HP. It's very tough to catch with its Frost Aura. I potentially could drain my line of HP, but immediately you can see my Luminark is piling forward, itching to get a shot, and start working down the Claw of Nagash. And shortly we are going to see our first death laser shot going off. And yeah, we'll see how it performs. So regardless, you can see I'm kind of squaring off here, trying to set up my lines. I was actually, my grouping was a little poor. You can see over here the wind-up time, just that generating light. It's so amazing. But either way, these Great Swords are kind of repositioning. I'm trying to get my line set up nicely, trying to keep my cav in a safe position. And the first death laser shot is going to go off, plunging like a lance of vengeance straight at this filthy Claw of Nagash. And you can see immediately hits it and does about 1600 HP damage. Of course, it bypasses the, or it goes straight to the fire resist. 1600 HP, so just a monstrous hit there. Obviously, the Claw of Nagash does have some magic resist in there, so it's counteracting the fire resist or fire damage a little bit. But really, if we look at the hit damage per hit, 855, 495, and another 630 AP for missile. So it's just so much damage going through. It's just an absolutely brutal whomping. And yeah, so that was the first shot. Now we are positioning. You can see the battle is going to continue. I do start repositioning my infantry, trying to make sure to buffer the Luminark. I don't want it getting caught out. My infantry, though, kind of milling around. Once again, I had some issues with my groupings in this game. As my opponent does start to advance, knowing that he has to push in, my Luminark is going to continue firing at the Claw of Nagash. Now, you might be wondering why I don't bother with Manfred. I probably maybe I should have shot at him, but I already started with a shot against the Claw of Nagash. The Claw of Nagash is a much easier target because it's so much slower and bigger, or more vertically bigger. So an easier target. You can see another Wampin hit there, dropping it by a further several thousand HP, and just monstrous work already. And the Claw of Nagash is falling apart incredibly quickly. I could have obviously fired the Vargeist to the Cryptards, but neither of that would be as ammo efficient. Honestly, the Claw of Nagash is a 1700 gold investment, so definitely the most efficient use, except Manfred perhaps, and I chose not to shoot at Manfred, which perhaps was a mistake, but I started off with an easy shot on the Claw of Nagash, and it's just the easiest target here. And I figure that if Manfred comes in, I'm going to have a much easier chance shutting him down with Demigryphs, because he'll probably be landing in the back line, or somewhere where I can get at him. Now you can see another shot here coming in. It's going to clock the poor Claw of Nagash, though not doing that much damage. I think just a glancing blow on the back of it, but nonetheless doing a huge amount of work and immediately causing it to crumble. In the meantime, the Vargeist over here getting a little cheeky, take a full volley from the Free Company Militia, do dive in to start mauling them, but the second group of Company Militia is trying to shoot. Great Swords turn around, and the Demigryphs dive in, and they're going to start tearing these guys to shreds. They're going to be tearing them a few new holes here. These guys are trying to kind of rampage through the Free Company, but the Free Company is having none of it. They are brave, they are the proud men of the Empire, and those Vargeist go down in 2 seconds flat. In the meantime, the Free Company Militia are getting breathed by Manfred. In the meantime, the Bolt slamming into the Claw of Nagash, dropping it to 24 HP, which puts it right on the cusp. It's completely it's crumbling. Its self-regen is the only thing keeping it slightly alive right now, but it's falling. It's not going to last. In the meantime, over here, the Demigryphs doing the same thing. My opponent drove the Vargeist down onto the Luminark and gets intercepted by Boris and the Demigryph Goon Squad. So they're on top of him. A summon going down of zombies trying to slow me down. But things are definitely grim. You can see all that fire pouring up from the Free Company Militia, chewing into Manfred's HP pool. Over here you can see I do actually switch fire, thinking that Manfred's not going to dive down, and knowing he's fairly tanky, I switch fire to the Cryptards, and my opponent decides to get cheeky and dives in. So I'm going to counter with the net of a Mintok. I actually pulled the Demigryphs here away, planning to hit it. You can see the Claw of Nagash there crumbled to death. Just so sad. Look at all these sad skeletons or wraiths or whatever they're supposed to be, just laying there, corpses. My opponent is trying to get a purple sun over there. You can see the wind-up time. He is at roughly 4,600 HP, and bam, loses about 1,000 HP. Obviously, it probably kills some of my Free Company Militia, but you know what? They're cheap. Manfred is not. And so some brutal stuff is going down. You can see with that shot in, I do decide to push my Free Company Militia into the zombies, switching my Demigryphs now around. The front line at this point is very much mine. You can see the Free Company's repositioned, is wailing on these Crypt Horrors. The Tithe don't stand a chance in the long run. It's only really the Graveguard at this point, and Manfred, who's getting caught by Demigryphs, and soon to be Boris and the gang here. And at this point, my opponent is simply going to GG out. So it was a quick game. It was mostly meant to demonstrate the power of the Luminark. 3 chevrons gained in a single game in the space of, I do believe, 5 shots. It is a monster. Now, the Luminark was always a monster, if it hit. And obviously, the Claw of Nagash is a dirt cheap unit. Or sorry, an expensive unit and a very easy to hit unit. So which is what you got to do with the Luminark. You got to prioritize targets. But the new Luminark is far better with its reduced cost. Basically, the reduced cost in the Luminark meant that I could get that Free Company Militia on the field, an extra unit of them, and they were kind of useful in the defending the backline. It opened up, it made it a little more viable. It means I'm not investing my a huge chunk of my army's value into the single gimmick, essentially. It's still a sniper rifle. It's still not good at anything that's not sniping single targets. The additional ammo also means that I feel like it's a much more worthwhile risk, because it's cheaper. At the same time, there's more ammo, so there's a good chance that I'll get more value out of it over the course of a game. It's still not good in melee, but once again, just that extra ammo, that extra mobility, or not extra mobility, extra cost reduction is just so good, and that makes the Luminark much more, in my eyes, much more viable. I actually don't think this is a bad build against vampire accounts, to be fair. So if you're looking for builds here, I don't think this is bad. But really, the core of this was the Luminark display, and it was really potent. Had I focused Manfred, I might have gotten better results this game. I could have probably crushed Manfred. Honestly, I could have shot to death the Claw of Nagash with my Free Company. Obviously, if your opponent does try to shut down your Luminark, that could be a problem. but with an extra unit in there to defend it, at the same time, you have an easier time defending your Luminark. You have an easier time shutting down interference. Vampire counts would have to get dire wolves or something on your Luminark, Blood Knights or something like that to really shut it down before the Lord was put at risk, and that's difficult. You essentially have to throw a unit in unsupported, at least by your Lord. The Vampire Lords tend to be incredibly expensive. Even the cheap ones like Vlad are incredibly expensive. It's a 2,000 gold investment, and essentially the Luminark, even if that's all it does, even if all it does is zone out your opponent's Lord, given how central Lords are to Vampire compositions, that's 1,700 gold well spent. If all it had done this game was zone out my opponent's Claw of Nagash, that's already an even trade. It's already done its job. It's already done a great job. Any damage it does on top of that is great, and honestly, it's a great tool. I do like it. I do like the debuffs. I think this is probably the most significant buff to anything in the Empire roster, besides the fixes to the line of sight bugs. Yeah, it's great. I definitely hope to see that one day the rest of the Empire artillery roster is as nice as this. So if you guys like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe below. Obviously, it was a short one. Obviously, I'll be putting up more alongside it. Or it's not the only video I'm going to be putting up, but I just wanted to share this one, just to show the Luminark. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe below. If you have any comments, any criticisms, if you don't agree with me, if you think the Luminark's still garbage, if it needs more buffs, if you think it's become overpowered, be sure to share. Tell me. I'd really like to hear opinions. I'd like to know what you guys think, and yeah, be sure to share. So as usual, guys, I do appreciate you all for watching, watching through this long video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye for now.